What is the best visual effects software, and why? Is it worth spending thousands on Autodesk Maya when Blender is free and can do much the same thing? Should you cough up the money for Foundry's Nuke when you already have an Adobe subscription and can just use After Effects? This question sounds like it should have a very simple, quantifiable answer. Yet by delving into the question, the answer is anything but. Whether you're a newbie in the visual effects world, or someone with more experience, stick around as we delve further into this. First off, for anyone unfamiliar with what a visual effects program even is, or at least for the purpose of this discussion, what I'm referring to, a visual effects program, put simply, is the tools presented to visual effects artists for use in creating, generating, and mapping out visual effects shots and assets. Effectively, it's the interface, the software designed to generate all the CGI you often see in film and television and beyond. Examples of visual effects programs include Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, Houdini, etc., and by extension, other programs designed to interact and be used alongside these programs include others such as Photoshop, Illustrator, Nuke, After Effects, Mari, etc. In this wealth of different options to create very similar results, what is the best at everything? The thing that sparked my interest in this discussion was actually when I was recently criticised for my use of Maya for general 3D work over another program, Houdini. An acquaintance of mine, the one criticising, is familiar with the world of visual effects and CGI and creates it himself. The work that he often does is to do with physics simulations and generated work. His main point was that Maya is an outdated, clunky, and underpowered piece of software when compared to Houdini. To this, I would not say that he is necessarily wrong. Maya has been around a long time, and has generated a reputation amongst people in the industry that it is certainly more prone to crashing and bugs compared to some newer programs. However, that doesn't mean Houdini is better. To answer our initial question, we must first ask ourselves why programs are picked over others in the first place. Assuming we have a need for some form of visual effects software, we must first consider three main areas: cost, experience, and time. All three of these are very heavily intertwined, which I will explain a little further shortly. But starting off, the first consideration to be made is cost. All of these programs mentioned today, bar a few exceptions, cost money. The amount varies across different programs. There are options for ongoing license payments, such as a subscription, a once-off payment that will grant you that version of the product for life, or similar pricing models. The specifics both matter and don't when it comes to answering our question, as whether you're a small studio, a freelancer, or the best and biggest production house, money will always be a factor. And so the first question asked is, do we have the budget for this program? This both does and doesn't make some programs better than others, as if you were a freelancer with no money whatsoever and you're looking to make a 3D model, then I would probably suggest to you Blender. However, if you had a sizable budget to begin with, I might suggest something else, depending on your needs, such as ZBrush, Cinema 4D, or Maya. And so, within this, there is already some variance between what program might be better for you opposed to another. But ignoring the personal situation here, and simply looking at the programs as though money was no object, the price doesn't dictate the quality of the program necessarily. And so then, after considering cost, onto our second point, experience. Imagine now you are the head of a visual effects studio looking to produce a short animated film. Yet you currently have no visual effects software whatsoever, but a very experienced team. A good consideration for you to make would be the specific experience of your staff, as if a majority of your team is experienced in a particular program, then it makes sense to supply that program to them, as they will most likely be able to produce work efficiently with it. If you, however, had a very unexperienced team, then this consideration would matter less, as your team would have to upskill in whatever program you presented them with, and thus the options are more plentiful. And so, our third consideration plays heavily into this, that being time. Imagining the same example now. You have a very experienced team, and also a lot of time. Would it be a good idea to upskill your team in a new program? Perhaps so, if that program provided you something you needed on your production. Or instead, are you very time limited with your team, and you might only have a few weeks or months to produce a large production? In either case, time will dictate to you and your team what the best course of action might be. As you can see, it isn't as simple as this program can do it, therefore it's the best, as there are other areas that might outweigh this idea. Houdini, for example, might be better at physics simulation on paper than Maya, but if you've already bought Maya and your team is more experienced with it, and you have a short time frame, then you should probably stick with the quote-unquote lesser program, if it means a higher chance of producing better work on time. So then, to put this into its original form, and to summarize what I said to the acquaintance that originally criticized me, is Houdini better than Maya? Well, no. Neither is a better program than the other. Maya is typically seen as the industry standard for most 3D graphics work, at least at this point in time. Is it because it's the flashiest, fastest, best looking, most powerful program of its type? No. But it has been around a long time. In fact, if you've been in the industry for any considerable amount of time, then you've likely crossed paths with it and used it. Within this, because it has been around a long time, and people are very familiar with it, it is hard to get them to change for the reasons listed above. It would be too expensive or too time-consuming to learn in the same amount of detail everything you need to know about a new software. And for a similar reason, lots of plugins and tools have been created for Maya, making it easier to use for those familiar. Does that mean I wouldn't suggest Houdini? Also, no. If under the reasons previously stated, you have the time and the budget to get the program, or people are already experienced with it, then by all means, go out and use it for what you need it for. It also depends on the project you are currently working on. If I had no need whatsoever for physics simulation, then Houdini might not be the best program to pick up, or me or my team might simply have more relevant experience elsewhere. This is pretty much a very roundabout way to say that there is no one best program. No matter what area of visual effects you look at, there are programs that most certainly excel in particular areas, such as ZBrush for 3D sculpting and Photoshop for image manipulation. But does that mean that they are the best at those things? No. Your specifics will dictate to you whether they are or not. For that reason, I would never criticize anyone's choice of software without knowing their full situation first. For anyone new trying to get into visual effects, this probably wasn't helpful if you were trying to choose between various programs to learn. To that, however, I would say that you shouldn't be trying to learn programs. You should be trying to learn principles that transcend all programs. That way, if you ever find yourself unable to use your favorite program, you could transfer your knowledge across whatever software you might be faced with. A seasoned animator wouldn't struggle when a new animation program was put before them, as they understand in great detail the specifics of the principles of animation. It might take them a little while to get used to the new program, but the core of their knowledge would be the most important thing there. And so, for anyone looking for the best programs to use, I suggest you go out, you do your reading on what is typically standard amongst the industry, learn why, and see if that program might fit your needs for your project. You'll find examples of software comparisons on this channel. Take a look and see what might work best for you. But for now, what are your thoughts? Can you criticize someone for their choice of software in your mind? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this and more. And most importantly, have a great day. Thank you.